Alright, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the K&J Podcast. My name is Justin. Of course, by now y'all know that I moved. Me and Captions no longer live in the same state, but we're still going to be doing the channel together. Just two different videos at two different times. Let's just get into it. Before we get into it, actually, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. Follow us on our Instagram so you can still have a chance to get a free sticker. Just follow us and DM us a message. Sorry if I seem kind of a little out of it. I'm still adjusting to life here in Texas. I've been sleeping a lot, sadly, but tomorrow I start my first day of work, so I'm excited for that. It's been a weird transition. Of course, I still talk to Captions every now and then. Of course, he's busy doing stuff over there, and I've been busy trying to get a home here for my family, which sadly has taken a bunch of weird turns lately. Just haven't really had any luck. We found a couple of houses and things just been falling through, either on the seller's side or just because someone decides to make a better offer, things like that. So it's just been kind of difficult, unfortunately. This seems more like a vlog to me. Honestly, it's kind of weird because, I'm not used to just doing one-on-one. I did one in the last video, which is up here. Feel free to check it out. It's just kind of weird because, in one of the episodes me and Captions filmed together, I think it was the last one we ever filmed together, I noticed that the entire time I was the one that was doing all the talking, which is something I'm trying to work on. Hopefully whenever I get my first guest, I'll allow them to have a little bit of screen time. And I actually did record something with a friend of mine, Casper. You may have seen her in some of my videos on my main channel, which is going to be up here as well. But I just had a bunch of issues with the camera that I filmed on, because usually I shoot on my Canon M50, but I decided to use one of my older cameras, which I haven't used in years actually, and it just gave me issues. It completely erased all the footage I have of her, so all I have is the audio. So let me know down below if y'all actually want to hear that conversation, just the audio only, because it's actually pretty funny. We haven't spoken in person in a while. Me and Casper talk on the phone, things like that, but whenever it's in person, it's a lot more uncensored, a lot more raw, a lot funnier as well. So, just let me know if y'all want to see that. And whenever I do my uploads, which is every other Wednesday, I will go ahead and include that in the video and just have like a picture in the background just with the audio playing. So just let me know if y'all want to see that. But yeah, anyway, start work tomorrow at my new command. I'm pretty nervous because I don't know what to expect. The person that's my sponsor has been really cool, reaching out, letting me know, hey, this is what's to expect, and so far it seems like it's gonna be okay. It's not going to be as bad as ship life. I've kept hearing, I can't even speak right now. I keep hearing that it's not as bad from the people that have gotten out and gone to shore duty and done their jobs there, So kind of excited, going to be going back to school, hopefully. I'm sorry if this is a very boring podcast. Captions, don't talk shit in the next one. I know you will. So yeah. But as you can see, I'm back at my parents' house. It's not fairly well decorated, I'll give it that, but it's somewhere to stay. I have a random sombrero here because we celebrated Cinco de Mayo last Friday, so I'm just gonna go with the stereotype and just wear this. It makes my face a lot darker, but there's not much I could do about it because there's only one source of light in this house, so yay. But yeah, other than that, I really don't have much for this podcast. I was gonna do a podcast with a friend of mine, but she decided to go out of town, and I was gonna talk about this house and it being haunted and things like that. Well, at least I think it's haunted. I'm gonna take this off because this is actually pretty hot. But yeah, I've lived in this house for years. I believe when I was a sophomore in high school, me and my family actually moved in here. And whenever my parents actually got back together and all other stuff. So we moved back in here. And I always thought this place was haunted. I never really liked coming in here as a kid because of the stories I would hear, the things that I would hear and stuff that would happen. It always freaked me out. And there's one room in particular that really I don't like going in sometimes, and that's actually my daughter's room, which is very sad, but I used to live in that room as a teenager, and I just remember always being scared to go in that room, because for the longest time, like, no one lived in that room. It's where my aunt, who had passed away, lived in. She had cancer, and she had like a hospital bed in there and all this other stuff. So when she passed away, that room was just unoccupied. It just had a bunch of stuff with a bunch of blankets over it. So that room always creeped me out. And then when my parents got back together and I decided to live in that room, some weird stuff started happening. I remember the first night that I slept in there, I woke up with really bad back pain, especially like on my lower side, and it's been there since. Like, it hasn't gone away. It's only since that day I've been having that pain, and it hasn't gone away. And it's just so weird because, like, I've gone to chiropractors, I've gone to sports therapists, things like that, and there's really nothing. Like, there's no nerve damage, there's no nothing, so there's really nothing to explain the pain. And it's not like a really like sharp or any type of that. It's just a lot of discomfort, and I always feel like I need to like pop it or like get it popped and stuff like that. So it's just really weird. But yeah, so I had that happen, and then just a bunch of weird stories that have happened in this house. Like, one of my uncles, he was drinking one day and he saw what he says was the devil across the street standing under a lamppost, so that scared the crap out of me. My parents also told me the story about when they were using a Ouija board, which is not fun. So they used a Ouija board in that room, and I believe it was my parents and some of my older cousins. They were playing the Ouija board. They were all drinking and doing it. And this is whenever my brother was still, like, little. I think so, yeah. He was still little. From the story that they told me, they were playing with the Ouija board and, like, they were kind of, like, cussing at it because they were drinking. And they asked it some questions, and it apparently spelled out, "You will die tonight." And it kind of freaked them out, but then my cousin that doesn't really believe in that stuff, I don't know if it was my cousin or my aunt, someone, anyway. They decided to ask who would die tonight, or how they would die. And the Ouija board said, "Look up." And right above them was a ceiling fan that was kind of like wobbling and like kind of off its hinges, whatever. So they decided to say goodbye and, leave it be. But then they started hearing my brother wake up and like make these weird noises. So when they went into the other room, he was just looking at the ceiling, just following something. Like, they said that he was just looking and it kept on going back and forth, up and down, just looking around like he was following something on the ceiling. So, I mean, that creeped me out also whenever they told me that. And I'm a huge skeptic when it comes to this stuff. Y'all have heard in the past that I had my own paranormal group in high school. Even before then, I was always, like, interested in the paranormal and the occult because, I don't believe in it and I like to disprove it. And there's always, explanations for certain things. Some things you just can't explain, especially whenever you have limited resources to try doing anything about it. But anyway, going back to that room, I remember there was this one night. I don't know if y'all have ever experienced sleep paralysis, but pretty much it's when your mind wakes up first, but your body doesn't. Like, your body is still, like, just asleep, but your mind's completely awake. You're able to open your eyes and kind of look around. And you're kind of in this haze. So I remember being asleep and then waking up. This was, like, a couple of years back, actually. It wasn't that far back. But I had woken up, and I couldn't move. Like, I was just there, like, kind of panicking. And I remember looking at the window. It was daylight at this time. I was looking out the window, looking at the curtain, and all of a sudden I just see this shadowy figure just there, getting closer and closer and closer. And in my mind, I'm like, stop looking. But my eyes were just fixated, and I was just hyperventilating, freaking out. Like, I was trying to scream for help, but I couldn't. And the only thing I could do was just force my eyes closed and just, okay, go back to sleep. Just dream because this might be a dream. And, it finally happened. Then, I woke up and I was able to move, and that shadow was gone. And it freaked me out because I look at a lot of these YouTubers that, do a lot of the paranormal stuff, a lot of the Ouija board stuff. And there was this one YouTuber I saw maybe a week ago. And he talked about his experiences of using Ouija boards when he was a kid and all this stuff. And talking about shadow people, which is something I've kind of heard of, but his interpretation was a little bit different. That whenever you use a Ouija board, a specific demon will come out kind of as a liaison to the other spirits, and his name is Zozo. Now, he was talking about this creature, or this demon, whatever you want to call it, and he said that he didn't know what it was when he was a kid. Like, he just saw, oh, shadow figure, yada yada. But then his friend explained to him, like, hey, that's actually this person. He's pretty much like a bridge taker between the spirits and the humans, and he's actually very dangerous. So when you use a spirit board and it spells out his name, like, you should stop at that point, like, get priest blessings, stuff like that. So whenever I heard about that, I was like, dude, like, I don't know, maybe I have seen the same thing, or, it's just my mind playing tricks on me, because I could have very well have been asleep still, just kind of like in between. I don't know, it just freaked me out. Like, that's not one of the scariest experiences I've ever had. I want to save that for, like, the following podcast I'm going to do whenever I have one of my friends. Because I know they've had paranormal experiences, as well as I want to get some of the folklore that, me as a Mexican have heard about. Like, I'm going to butcher these names, I'm so sorry. But, like, La Llorona and then El Cucuy and things like that. Like, different stories we've been told as kids that, are now coming into the mainstream, because there was a movie that just came out about La Llorona. I can't even say that name. Just this lady here. And, I haven't seen the movie yet. I heard it really wasn't that good, but, I wanted to get with my friend who, is her family's from Mexico. She knows, like, all these things about Mexico. So I want to get her look on, the stories she's been told and compare it to the story that I've been told, and different things like that, different superstitions we grew up with as kids, which some are weird. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of an egg thing and getting ho-ho. But, give this video a like. I'm going to end it on this note, really, because I want to save this for the next podcast. I just kind of wanted to give y'all a taste of stuff I've experienced in this house in the past, and, my parents have experienced, my uncles, things like that. So, stay tuned for the next podcast. I'm sorry if this was kind of a weird one. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is...